Hello, my name is Harvey Newman and welcome to this January AnimChallenge. The winner for this challenge is DAHVID Cuevas, and David did an amazing job. So the challenge was called Telephone. So this challenge was all about telephone, as in like your telephone. It was vertical instead of horizontal. There's normal shots. And I think the community out there did an amazing job. I have been perusing some of the submissions for last month, and you guys have done an amazing job. So congrats to everybody that actually added. So congrats to everybody that participated. And obviously David Cuevas' shot was the one most liked, most loved, and I can see why, because David did an amazing job. So basically, I'm going to review this as best as I can, give you some tips. I think there's some things that can be improved on, but the way the shot is right now, it's already looking epic. So let's do it. I'm gonna play the shot through and through a couple of times, just so you guys can see it. And then after that, I'm gonna go in and start reviewing it. So good. So David, your shot made me really happy to see it. Made me really happy. Really cool, super creative as well. I like your rig. So the first thing that I'm going to say, I'm just going to start with the positives of the shot, because that's how I like to start my reviews, both at work and outside. So the things that I like about your shot is how dynamic the whole thing is. I really appreciate how much you actually got away with in this rig by having the bones displace themselves and made them look as it was squash and stretch, like stretchy limbs, but it's just the bones displacing themselves and being like separated like this, right? So it looks really cool that way. And it's a very smart way for you to actually get stretch on a rig. I really enjoyed that. I think the way you set up the shot maximizes time. I think it's very smart that you actually made it pretty much pose to pose, and you made it super snappy, so you have very little in between poses. So you made the most out of your time, which is not a lot, a month. So to make sure that you actually got the most out of those poses, and then you basically fill in the gaps from what I see here. This is me assuming how you did it. I'm sure you did it like in your own way, but this is what I saw, and I really like that you actually went about it the smart way by actually going pose to pose and then filling in the gaps. Really cool stuff. Now, the way the shot starts and the way the ends, the way the shot starts and the way that it ends, I think is also satisfying. It creates an infinite loop, like most animations that you guys submitted, so that's really nice. And it was difficult for me to actually kind of go in and start kind of like nitpicking on things, because I really like this. So everything that I'm going to say next is going to be like really small things that you can actually push here and there that will give you more bang for the buck. But overall, I think this shot is good to go, right? This is how it goes in animation, both games and film. Like, you always get attached to a shot, but as long as it works, you can just ship it and move on to the next shot. And I think this one is pretty much there. So let me just kind of go in and start kind of like nitpicking your shot to see where we get to. Now, right from the beginning, right there when he actually is falling, I have noticed I've started dribbling. I started doodling in the shot. So this is just me reminders for myself as I was actually kind of analyzing it, pre-recording the video. And because you are creating motion that is so fast, definitely having your arcs always make sense, and connecting between poses is the most important thing you can do, because everything is a blur except for the main poses. Now, I've noticed here, right when he's going down, if you look at this line of action, obviously the action is supposed to be something like, let me just get my pencil up, something like this, right? So he kind of falls down all in, and he's supposed to actually go in And he's supposed to actually kind of go in from the camera to the floor. Now, I've noticed that where he falls here and where he's smashed on the floor are two different places. So his head is over here, but when you actually get that motion to actually kind of fall down, the head is much closer to the screen. So make sure that by the time the character is here at the bottom, he is basically in this position. Whatever the metric is for where the head is right there at the end should actually match this. So when the head falls down. Another thing that happens just before is that your line of action right there should be as straight as possible, because once again, it's fast, right? But I've noticed that you kind of like go to the side slightly and then go back down. So if you make sure that your animation is right there in the middle, so the head will be more or less there, and then the head will be more or less there, and then it falls down, you're gonna get a much better in the shot. So yeah, I think that's like, you should definitely kind of do those things to kind of like clean up things a little bit better. Another thing that I saw, and let me just change my color because I'm not digging how this is looking right now. Also, let me know if you actually will like this sync sketch link or an export of this to help you out in your shot later. So another thing that I've noticed as well is like line of action, not only when he's moving, but also the limbs. So I think you can actually push things a bit further. I've noticed that obviously the hands, they don't really have like articulation. So it's not like you could bend the fingers. So there's a limitation there on the rig for you to be able to get the most out of it. But you can, however, get things to look a little bit more, the poses to be more in between each other. So to demonstrate, like the hand is over here, and then it goes over here, over there, and then it's over here. So in order for you to actually get things to connect a little bit better and flow a little bit better, you should definitely get this hand to be much more around there. Let me just delete a few things because it's getting messy. So this hand should be around there, and so would actually the upper arm and the lower arm. And then here you can actually get more from it if you get the hand to be slightly more towards there. Same thing with this arm, this upper arm, and as you go down there, which will probably give you a better interpolation in between poses. You can also, because you're actually pushing your pose, you're pushing your shot so much, you can start making sure that if you go all in about pushing poses, then you can leave your first two frames to be straight arm, and then this frame here can be something completely different. It can be something where the arm like this falls down first, and then you have this, and then you have that. So it looks a bit more like you're starting to anticipate that frame where the arm falls down. That will probably work better, and we'll start to kind of like get that synergy and that energy into the floor, anticipating. Because whenever we actually fall down, some part of the body anticipates the fall or tries to anticipate the fall. We're not cats, obviously, so it's not like we're perfect, but some part of the body normally tries to anticipate the fall a little bit so you can brace yourself. This can be that limb, and then, you know, the arm is on the floor. So this is good. You can do something similar with the other arm as well. So as you can see, this arm is basically staying still the whole way down. And I think you can actually start, like, leave it at this distance that you have, but maybe around this frame here, frame 10, you can start doing something similar where his arm is more here. And then he falls down. So you can start to see that kind of works better, that he's bracing that arm from falling. Another thing that I've noticed throughout the shot is like silhouette and shapes, especially on the feet and the hat. There's a lot of frames where you can just see a shape that is not distinguishable. So the feet, for example, they just look flat, and then here looks flat and flat. And I think you can start playing with rotations a little bit. So it obviously is a fast movement, so you wouldn't want to distract too much from it. But like the legs are pretty much on a flat line going in, and this is why it gives you that sense that the foot is going like this, right? So you can start adding a little bit of rotation to add a bit more volume to it. So you did a little bit here, so when the foot is actually kind of curving backwards, but I think you can still do it here. So for example, in this shape here, on the leg, on the left leg, his left leg, you can start doing something like this, where his foot and his leg are breaking somewhere like that. Actually, let me just put my yeah, that's better. A little bit too much. So I don't know if you can see what I mean, but like his foot, like this is the bottom of the foot, and you would be able to see a little bit of the side of the foot, just to create a little bit better of a silhouette when he comes down. Same thing on this one. You can perhaps like start tweaking it a little bit more, so you can see a bit more of this foot as he comes down. So maybe the inside or the outside is up to you, but you can even leave the leg straight, as you can see here, but it will just create a better silhouette overall of the feet, and it will be more interesting as well. Since you're breaking the joints so much, then you can go ahead and just like really go to town about it. Same thing here, because he's falling down, it would give even more of that illusion that he's falling down and he's breaking because he's a skeleton. If you just like really go to town on those feet and like really kind of like offset them like a lot, so they are just like completely off, something like this. And then because you're still falling down there, like this pose to pose actually works well. So even if the feet are actually slightly off, like that, it still works well. Now I've noticed as well, like as you go down, this is fine. I think you need a planting pose right there. So the foot needs to be planted, and then you can come out. At the moment, it feels very much like he's tippy-toeing in that position, in that pose. It feels slightly odd that he's actually gonna be like tippy-toeing. I think having a foot planted there will create a much better sense that he's lifting himself up. Same thing here. This foot is basically doing the same thing on these two frames. This foot here. So in order to get more interest, perhaps you have this foot like starting to rotate forward, so you can start to see the top of the foot. So you start anticipating a little bit of the movement that comes next. I'm just checking the arms now. Yeah, I think the arms are fine. I think this linear motion that you have in the arms really helps to actually sell the going up, so it's almost like you're pointing up as the character is like pushing up, which is cool. However, the hat, his helmet, or hat, I should say, is kind of in the same position again throughout the whole shot, and I can tell that you're actually doing that in order for the reader to be able to understand what's going on, which is fine. You have about 3 or 4 frames in order to actually allow the viewer, the audience, to actually get to understand what's going on in your shot. However, you can do slight movements in order to kind of sell the next movement or the prior movement. So here, for example, going straight into this pose, it's okay, but you might want to have more of that angle where you see the hat more from, like, you see a little bit more of the front of the hat, right? And then as he's going up, he starts to rotate a little bit to the opposite end, so you get like that. So you get that like opposite action right there. So I'm just like delineating what's front. So this is front right there. And then opposite action, and then he goes up. So you don't get 2 frames where like they are so similar, so you can get a little bit more action of him going like this as he goes up. I think that's what you intended anyways, but I think you can push it further if you like. Also, I think that the head here, in this specific frame, in order to actually read it even better, you can try and like offset the head upwards. Because I feel like the movement is so big, going from here to here, that I think the viewers would get probably a better understanding of what's going on if the head is off the body a little bit. So you get a better silhouette, because at the moment, the only thing you see is basically this shape. You kind of lose the head amongst everything that's going on, because you don't really see the head from the beginning, and then obviously you see the head right here. So maybe like allow the audience to see the head more by just like same thing, just allow the teeth to show up. The head is down, cool, I like this pose, but then offset the head a bit more so you can see more of the head. And then we'll give you a bit more of a stretch as well, so the head will be more or less there. It will give you much more of a stretch on this movement, which I like a lot. It looks really cool. The same thing applies here about the feet and the shape. I think you lose a little bit of silhouette because the rig is very simple, but I do think that you can have much more of this is the upper leg, and then you can have a little bit more of this action on the foot. And same thing here, perhaps actually kind of add the foot a little bit, like a little bit of a twist to the foot. So it's a little slightly different. Maybe not as much as I did it here. Let me just delete that. Sorry about that. So you want just a little bit of like side view on the foot, something like that. Because like at the moment your foot is doing exactly the same all throughout the up, and that's cool, but I do think you can add a little bit of, as soon as he's going up, instead of just having it like straight like this, you can have a little bit of like the foot is twisting as he's going up, like that. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. So it doesn't look so static overall. I like the shape of this foot. You can see a little bit more going on here, see? So having more of that as you go through, maybe on this frame, you can actually kind of add more of this. Yeah, exactly like that, as he goes through. So yeah, you're already adding quite a bit of that thing to this foot, to this like his left foot. It's just this one that looks a little bit too even on the way up. I think I really like how much hang time you actually give him. It feels good whenever he actually goes whoosh, and then stays up for a little bit. It doesn't feel too much and not too little, just enough, which is nice. I like that. Yeah, this action in the head where you stretch the neck a lot, that's what I'm talking about, around this frame there and there. You might want to add a little bit of that onto it. Not too much, not as much as here, but I think maybe you actually want to add a little bit of that. And then so on this frame here, I can tell that you're actually putting the head, the body, and the hips slightly offset, so you can see a little bit of the head, which is nice. I wonder if you can get away with it more. I don't know if the rig allows you to, but it would be nice for you to have something. So again, let me just put like a little bit of trace on it. Something where it looks more like that. So it feels more like a curve. I think that would be nice to have that, so you can get away from, like, show the face or show the head without having to feel so linear, feel much more organic as a shape. That will probably give you a little bit better of a motion. I'm not too sure how stretchy is the rig, but that might be nice. You might be able to offset the hips a little bit more as well. So basically, like, you have one of the hips there and the other hip there, so it's a bit more offset there. So it gives you more of a side view. Yeah, that might be nice. I mean, it's so quick that you don't really have to do that, but like, might be worth giving it a try. This hand here, I think you should most definitely get this hand to be more here. So you have more of this silhouette as he goes down. You can start by start offsetting the arm there, and then continue offsetting the arm throughout your animation, so you can get something a little bit better. So this arm is there, and then over there, like, maybe you can see this arm doing something like this with the hands, and by this point you have maybe the hand around there, and then eventually you get that. So yeah, I think yeah, that will actually read better overall. I think the other hand is fine, the other arm is fine, but yeah, that hand will actually give you a better silhouette overall when he falls. And then keep this hand here for sure, just to make sure that you get that maximum effect in terms of clean shapes. I like the smoke effect that you added. That's cool. That's really cool. So when it turns into a ball, it's really cool. But I do think that there's a little bit, like if you actually have all the limbs showing, like I'm trying to show here, right? You show all the limbs kind of falling down, and then all of a sudden he goes into, from being like open to like a ball, you're gonna get a much more bang for your buck. It's gonna look so much better. You already have it almost, but just before you kind of lose this arm here behind the leg, it feels almost like it's just the leg, the whole thing. Obviously you add a little bit of smoke, that's cool. Might be worth kind of like getting this arm to be a little bit up when the smoke happens, just so you can see the silhouette of what's going on, like that. And then he goes into ball mode, which is cool. About the legs, same thing as before. Try to actually get the legs to have a bit more shape, so to be a bit more like this. So if it was a proper leg, it will be like that, basically. That will actually give you a bit better silhouette. This hand here, once again, needs to be offside, so it would be like somewhere around there. So you go from full body to then going into a ball, and that's cool. That's really, really cool. Once again, in order to give you the most bang for the buck, I think you should really pay attention to the silhouette. So this spine should be in the middle, the neck should be in the middle, and then so should like the head, just to make sure that you get like a proper like middle like roll as he goes through. All throughout it, because I can see that there's a little bit of a spine, so it kind of creates some kind of like visual blur. So this is really nice. I like how you actually kind of just made him like almost like bang. Looks really, really cool. I like it a lot. However, I think there's a chance here for you to add overlap to the hat. So it would be nice that when he actually finishes roll and goes up like this, maybe the hat is like this, and then when it goes down, the hat just goes down. As you saw here, I did it. The hat goes down with him, and then that's when the hat goes like this, right? And then at that point he goes, what? So I think there's a chance there for you to add overlap to the hat to kind of like add to the shot, which is cool. The rest looks cool. I like it a lot. You don't have a lot of time, but I think you have enough time. Don't know why Sync Sketch keeps doing some weird stuff. Okay. Yeah. I think you have enough time to sell that small overlap. Yeah, you do. You have enough time. So then this stuff is cool. I like it, love it, really nice. Not gonna say anything about that. That's cool. Ship it. I think you can, around here, around there, you can add a little bit more of a overlapping action while going up on the head, I should say. So he basically goes, I'm here, he goes down, which is cool. I think while he's tippy tapping, he should continue to go down a little bit more, so his hat will be around there. And then while he's going up, I think you can continuously like add a little bit of hat down right there. And then at this point he's at that position. So you get a little bit of like this as he's going up. Will be nice. And then when he reaches the apex, he reaches the top, you have another opportunity, because he spends so much time in air there. You have another opportunity to, as soon as you hit the top, you actually go the opposite way, right? So you go top, and then you start like going up a little bit, So he starts going like this, slightly, more. So he's anticipating that fall, and then when he falls, you definitely need to actually get that head to be like that. So you start like really showcasing that hat. So he's properly like this, even though he's looking down. Not too much, but just a little bit, so you can actually sell that fall. And then when he goes down like here, he's in this position again. So he gives a little bit of this movement as he goes up, and then he goes down. He kind of releases a little bit of that stiffness that you have right now. I dig how you actually kind of are going in small circles on the hips as he's going from one side to the other, like there. That's cool. And then he comes back to the same place. That's excellent. You might want to add a bit more of that, so he starts shooting that way and like continues going that way, and then goes a little bit to the other side. So you don't have a perfect circle, more like an oval, but he kind of goes out and then comes back in on the opposite side. So you get more of an oval side, because oval shape, because you're already doing that here. Yeah, you're already doing that there. So it would be a shame not to add it to the other side. So when it goes from here, let me just change my color so it doesn't get too confusing. He kind of just goes like that. I think that will work. Give it a try. And let me just check. The arms, I think there's a missed opportunity here as well. I think the arms, just like you have everything else, because he goes up so quickly, will be awesome that in this specific frame, he actually pulls his arms slightly down. So the arms are like there. I mean, he's been shaking his arm for so long, it would be nice for him to actually, almost like a bird, just go down and his arms go the opposite way. So you get that, and then he basically catches his arms again at this point. So he has this kind of shape. Arms still slightly stretched, but not too much. There, and then he catches his arms again. Like that, yeah, that would work. So it's almost like point, and then he kind of goes up, and then when he goes down, you might want to like kind of invert the elbows. So he's like this, and then when he goes down, have the elbows like this, maybe. So goes up, and then when he goes down, he's like the opposite. He has the opposite on his arms, and then he goes down, which is cool. This is all good. So something that you introduced more or less halfway through the shot was this shape here, right? Looks really cool. And because the hammer is orange, makes it look really awesome. However, I think behind here in this shots just before then, I think there's some opportunities there for you to add something like that. Just not orange, just basically like yellow like the body, to kind of like connect the dots really well. I think, for example, when let me just double check. You already added there. Yeah, on the arms, for example, adding a little bit of a blur, because the arms, when the arms are at the max stretch, I think you should have a little bit of like a helper to kind of like sell the connection between the two poses. So I think it would help you to have something, for example, going from here to here. It's such a big movement that having a little bit of like extra stretch, like just like guiding lines, will allow you to kind of like get that extra oomph on your shot. Maybe not as big as that, but something like that. That would actually help out. That's really cool. Now here you start introducing like some really nice shapes and like doubling of limbs and stuff like that. Really nice. On this move here in particular, I feel like it would work better if you put the body the opposite way of what it is here. If you actually have the head here and the body around there, and you have this head just tilted the other way, so it's tilted this way, you're gonna get much more of a overlap, because just like the hammer, he wants to go, sorry about that, he wants to go that way, right? He wants to go that way. So having his head doing this to go to that place is better than having the head just going straight away to that specific place. So having the head just going down there, and then basically have either this frame or in between this frame, I think it will work beautifully. You can add perhaps like those lines that I was just talking before, having a little bit of that like yellow line that allows you to connect the dots, like just like something like that. That would actually make it look much better. Yeah, you already have it here a little bit, so that's perfect. Also, I think you need another helping, a guiding line, just like you have it here. I think you have one. You have to have one around there as well. Maybe going like this. No, you wouldn't be that way. No, I'll take that back. You'll probably be something like this, like in the body itself, right there. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. You'll be like in front of the hammer. And then he stops, which is nice. This is cool. Stops on the spot. Now, when he stops like that, whoosh, maybe it's because he didn't have time, but it would be awesome for him to have a little bit of wiggle. Same thing as you have, I think it's there. I think you have like a little boink. Yeah, that, see? It would be awesome to have that when it hits that pose there, in every single pose after that will be awesome. Just like a little bit of like boink, so it doesn't look like a wall 100%. Now, this is just like my opinion about this stuff, but I feel like when this guy comes out, in order to actually kind of help him out, well, he's the same guy, right? He's just like super fast. I think it will work better if you actually make him come out like this, but when this yellow stuff drops. So it's almost like the yellow bricks like drop, and as soon as they drop, that guy comes out. So you have 2 in 1, and it almost looks like is a result of that. Like he dropped the first one, therefore he just became even faster. So now, excuse me. So you dropped the first one, so now he became even faster. Therefore now he actually is super fast. So he can actually go in. So that's cool. So now here in this bit here, I think because you have 2 skeletons, I believe, you have one here and one there. I think you can leave this one as is. So this one correct, but this one here, you kind of have a missed opportunity to make this one a little bit more twisted to resemble that. So it's almost like the first one is like this and the second one is slightly rotated, and that will connect visually the 2 poses so much better. And then you have the hammer. So I think these two poses work really well. The fact that he actually goes, that's cool. However, I think the second time he does it, just looking at this guy here specifically, is exactly the same thing. It would be awesome that even though they would be similar, that they will be slightly different though. So like this pose is like this, and then the next pose is perhaps the foot is like slightly down, like around there. And this leg is a little bit more like this. And maybe his head is like slightly more angled, or the body is slightly more angled, or something that actually gives you like a slightly different pose. Once again, it might have been because lack of time, but just to kind of add a little bit more visual candy to it. So it's not exactly like the same thing. Now that guy disappears then, so let me just look at this guy. Oops, Sync Sketch is playing up again. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think on this one, you should do something similar to what you've done on this one. I think this works better than that, because it looks like a blur. This like connected to. Maybe not as much, because they are closer, so I can see what you're saying here. But I feel like maybe you need a little bit like more of another skeleton that is closer to the pose that it was before, or something better that connects the two. So I think on this one, when he's hammering, you have slightly different poses, if I'm not correct, if I'm not wrong. No, using the same. Yeah, so this one kind of like would be awesome to also have two slightly different poses. That would be cool. So, and let me just look at the other ones around. I've noticed that there's a guy here, right there, that I can barely read, and I think what's happening is that this guy is going to be this guy in the end. I think you might be best doing the same thing as here. No, not here. Yeah, there. Yeah, where you put two of them together, because he's so stretched at this point that I can barely see what's going on. It just feels like a blur to me. It just feels like it's flash, and then the other guy shows up. So that might be best. This guy is doing his thing, hammering away, which is nice. This guy's hammering away as well, which is nice. And then you have those two skeletons moving away, which is nice. Once again, I think that you need to actually have the first skeleton as it is, and the second skeleton, like the head, be more like, let me just put this a little higher, and orange. The head be much more like he's like this. Maybe that doesn't come through. Yeah, this one comes through better. So you have his arms there, and the head just goes boop. So that will allow you to have a more connected animation between the two. Maybe have this head exactly where this finishes, to make sure that there's no overlap, because that doesn't really work. But it will connect if you actually kind of do it correctly. Like that. I think that will actually kind of connect a little bit better. And then he's so fast. By the way, all these things that I'm saying, you're doing it so fast that like really like this is like nitpicking, because the way you have it already, even like multiplying animations or using the same animation twice, it really works already. So this is just like really like fleshing out the shot more. I love the fact that he moves just the hammer on this one, nothing else moves. That is cool. Like beep beep, and then jumps off. And I also like the fact that he puts the hammer behind his back, almost like he's like walking like this. Really cool. However, I think that you should, like this, putting the hammer away is so quickly that you can barely see it. So maybe do exactly that, like this, but do it like as soon as he finishes, put the hammer around there. Actually, like lift the hammer slightly, like angle it up. Let me see if I can actually get something something like that. So you're anticipating that action and then putting it away. So he goes toot and then goes and then puts it away. So you have a little bit of an arc going backwards. So toot, angle it and then put it back. That way you allow the viewer to basically, this curve that you have here, ideally you want it to happen a little bit higher so the viewer can get to see that something happened there, and then he goes into that pose of like nothing happened, and then so I think the ending, the way you have the ending here, I think works really well. Like it works super well. I think is really nice, really pushed. The fact that he holds the cannon is really nice. You might want to get that hand on the cannon here as well. I'm not too sure if you lose that sense of like behind his back, but yeah, no, I think it actually works better that way. So he puts the hand on the cannon that way, and then the hand is basically just flowing through. You can actually add this hand maybe on the bottom to create a better arc. So it goes from there to there to there. Oh, and lift this hand as well. So you get much more of like a direct connection between the three poses. And then the head, this pose specifically, I think you can actually make it like, like that. I think you go too much into this, into the pose here, and then the head pops up there. I feel like the curve, your line of action, is not really reading well because he goes in and out. And then he just jumps up. Shape, and then in, and then boom. Yeah, awesome stuff. David, well done, man. This is all I had for you. I hope this is useful. Really cool shot. I love this. I think overall works super well. What you have here is like super good already. Feel free to leave it as is if you need to, but hopefully this insight helps you a little bit on how to push things forward, how to actually make them a little bit better. But overall, man, this shot is super entertaining. Great work, man. Keep it up. Really cool work. Hope to see you in more anim challenges in future months, because your work is top notch. And for all of you out there that don't know me very much, my name is Harvey Newman. Feel free to check me out on my YouTube channel, Google me, and you can find my content. That's all I had for you guys. That's all I had for you, David. Keep the good work and speak to you guys later. As always, stay well, stay safe. Peace.